What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA Saturday, November 27th. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, we have a 7-game slate tonight. So let's take a look at the point guard position. So I like Luka Doncic, and another stud that I like is Trae Young from the Atlanta Hawks, playing the New York Knicks, who have the 10th worst defense overall, and they give up the 6th most fantasy points to opposing point guards. Trae Young has averaged 45.7 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 34 minutes per game with a 34% usage rate. He's projected at 44.8 fantasy points here tonight, but I think he can score 50 fantasy points or more in this one, get you 5 times value or more. He's $9,600 DraftKings salary, and he's $700 less on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 218 points scored in this game, and Trae Young has scored 48, 62, and 48 fantasy points in his last 3 games, playing 27, 30, and 31 minutes. I also like this pick because Trae Young has scored 58, 45, 45, 41, and 57 fantasy points in his last 5 games versus the Knicks. So I like Trae Young here versus the New York Knicks. Another point guard that I like is Terry Rozier from the Charlotte Hornets, playing the Houston Rockets, who have the 2nd worst defense overall, and they give up the 9th most fantasy points to opposing point guards. Terry Rozier has averaged 29.9 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 32 minutes per game with a 23% usage rate. He's projected at 29.9 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.5 times value, but I think he can score 35 fantasy points or more in this one and get you 5 times value or more. He's $6,700 DraftKings salary and $100 less on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 221 points scored in this game, and Terry Rozier has scored 29, 53, and 48 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 28, 37, and 35 minutes. So this guy's got explosive upside when he gets going. It's a good matchup. So I like Terry Rozier here versus the Houston Rockets. Okay everyone, it's time to announce the winner of our $25 weekly PayPal giveaway. And the winner is Katie's Corner. Katie's Corner, congratulations. You are the winner of this week's $25 PayPal giveaway. Please reply to our comment to collect your prize. Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching. If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal, all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won, and we'll send you $25 PayPal. So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you. Okay, let's take a look at the shooting guard position. Okay, I got a value play for you here. I like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope from the Washington Wizards, playing the Dallas Mavericks, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They give up the 8th most fantasy points to opposing shooting guards, and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope has averaged 20.6 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 30 minutes per game with a 15% usage rate. He's projected at 19.7 fantasy points, but I think he can score 23 fantasy points or more, get you 5 times value or more. He's 4,200 DraftKings salary, 600 more on FanDuel, and KCP has scored 34, 15, and 31 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 27, 23, and 28 minutes. So I like Contavious Caldwell-Pope here versus the Dallas Mavericks. Okay, let's take a look at the small forward position. I like Lauri Markkanen from the Cleveland Cavaliers playing the Orlando Magic, who have the 2nd worst defense overall, and they give up the 2nd most fantasy points to opposing small forwards. Lauri Markkanen has averaged 28.6 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 31 minutes per game with a 21% usage rate. He's projected at 29.6 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.3 times value. He's only 5,600 DraftKings salary, 700 more on FanDuel, and Lauri Markkanen has scored 32 and 37 fantasy points in the last 2 games, playing 35 and 30 minutes. So I think his salary is a bit too low in this one for the matchup and for his upside. So I like Lauri Markkanen here versus the Orlando Magic. Okay, another small forward that I like. Here's another value play. Shooting guard, small forward. I like Kelly Oubre Jr. from the Charlotte Hornets playing the Houston Rockets, who have the 2nd worst defense overall. They give up the absolute most fantasy points to opposing small forwards. Kelly Oubre Jr. has averaged 23.1 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 26 minutes per game with a 22% usage rate. He's projected at 23.8 fantasy points here tonight, and that's 5.2 times value. He's 4,600 DraftKings salary, 400 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 221 points scored in this game, and Kelly Oubre Jr. has scored 34, 30, and 13 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 26, 34, and 22 minutes. So I like that 30-plus fantasy point upside for a low salary in a fantastic matchup. So I like Kelly Oubre Jr. here versus the Houston Rockets.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Okay, let's take a look at the power forward position. So kind of tough for me to find a decent low salary play on the slate. You could go with a guy like Kyle Kuzma. Lauri Markkanen's also power forward eligible. That'd probably be my power forward. I already went over him on the small forward position. Maybe Jashawn Tate. He's got a good matchup, but his minutes have come down the past couple of games. Hasn't played that well, but he's in a decent spot if he can play some minutes. But I think I'm just going to pay up for this position. Maybe go with a guy like Kristaps Porzingis from the Dallas Mavericks playing the Washington Wizards, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They're middle-of-the-pack defending opposing power forwards. Kristaps Porzingis has averaged 39.5 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 30 minutes per game with a 29% usage rate. He's projected at 41.5 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.8 times value. He's 8,700 DraftKings salary, 100 more on FanDuel. And Kristaps Porzingis has been on a roll. He scored 43, 42, and 49 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 40, 31, and 30 minutes. So I like Kristaps Porzingis here versus the Washington Wizards. Okay, moving on to the center position. So I'm not going to give you Rudy Gobert, but he is in a good matchup. He finally had a crack in his armor last game, only scored 29 fantasy points in 36 minutes. And I think it might be a back-to-back for Rudy Gobert. So I'm going to save you guys and skip that one. So the center that I'm looking at that I like on the slate is Jarrett Allen from the Cleveland Cavaliers playing the Orlando Magic, who have the 2nd worst defense overall. They give up the 5th most fantasy points to opposing centers. Jarrett Allen has averaged 35.7 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 33 minutes per game with a 17% usage rate. He's projected at 38.2 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.2 times value. He's 7,400 DraftKings salary, 200 more on FanDuel. And Jarrett Allen has scored 42 and 44 fantasy points in the last 2 games, playing 38 and 36 minutes. Now he's got a great matchup here tonight, so I like Jarrett Allen here versus the Orlando Magic.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smickety smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.